All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think it is time for us to do a face-off with Mr. Dave Ramsey. First time doing a face-off and giving a feedback on one of Dave's videos. Now, before I get to the clip, and I'm going to show you guys a clip as well as providing responses along the way, I don't have anything against Dave Ramsey. I think he does a phenomenal job as far as providing good education, information, and value to those folks that are in debt and that need help. I believe Dave is a very intelligent and smart man, but there are certain philosophies that I don't quite agree with him. There are things in the perspective of being an entrepreneur as well as a small business owner that I don't quite jive with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera around to show you guys the clip. I'm going to be watching with you guys. You guys will be watching the clip as well. But I'm going to show you a portion of where he mostly talks about home equity line of credit. And of course, I'm a huge fan of home equity line of credit when used properly and within the context of our Heloc strategies. And go and leave your thoughts below. Do you agree with Dave? Do you agree with me? We'll love to get a discussion and conversation started. So go and feel free to comment down below. We'll love to take some questions from you as well. Cool? All right, so let's go ahead and press play and hear what Dave has to say.
Going up. And, you know, that is creating a couple of situations in the real estate world that we're running into out here, and I'm talking to you about it. One problem is this. MarketWatch came out this week and said 1.6 million homeowners are predicted to get new home equity lines of credit in 2018. Now that people have equity, what are they going to do? Go borrow it! Well, that's just stupid.
Little bit of an extreme reaction, in my opinion. But so what's Dave is doing here, this is something that I shouldn't say dislike, but this is something that I don't appreciate about Dave is he's assuming the worst about the people. And, I believe that there are people with good intentions and very, well-intelligent decision-making skills as far as their finances that are going to use the home equity line of credit for a different use. So, of course, in our case, in our context of the Heloc strategy, we're using the home equity line of credit to ultimately pay down our debt and to reduce our liabilities as well as in the future, acquiring income producing asset. Now, I agree with Dave when it comes to borrowing the money from your home equity to go do some dumb things like buying a new TV, buying a new boat, unless you use the boat for business purposes to make money. But in most cases, in most consumers' mindset, they're borrowing home equity to do buying a new car, buying things that aren't necessarily going to make you more money. Now, what I am a fan of and what Dave doesn't necessarily talk about all the time is using the home equity loan or using home equity line of credit, which I'm going to make a distinction in just a sec, using home equity lines of credit to acquire income producing assets such as rental properties, maybe even buying a business, maybe buying an equipment that's going to help you make more money or doing a startup on a business. Those are the things that I would actually suggest that you do when it comes to borrowing money. Now, of course, if you don't have to borrow money to do those things, even better. But when you have a certain certainty, when you put yourself at an entrepreneurial risk to start a new venture, to go create more income, I believe there is a case and a use for home equity line of credit, and it is appropriate to borrow money for that specific case. So let's go and continue to hear what Dave has to say.
But there's 1.6 million people out there. They're getting ready to do something stupid, according to this report.
Again, he's assuming the worst about people, which, in Dave's experience, I can see why. Okay.
Don't go borrow your equity out of your house, especially on a freaking home equity loan.
Hold on. So I don't know if this might be a mistake that Dave made, but there is a distinction between a home equity loan and a home equity line of credit. They're two different products. While they both use your home equity to either withdraw money or to get money up front, there is a distinction between a home equity loan and home equity line of credit. We're not going to go into details and too deep into that. We'll have a separate video talking about the difference between a home equity loan and a home equity line of credit. But to give you a 5-second version of it, home equity line of credit is like a credit card that's attached to your home. It's a line of credit. It's a revolving product, whereas home equity loan, you get all the cash up front, much like a mortgage, and you pay back as you go, as the time goes, and you really necessarily can't take the money back out like a revolving line of credit. Okay, so I don't know if Dave's kind of is confusing the two different products. But let's keep on watching. Let's give him the benefit of doubt. Let's just assume that he is talking about home equity line of credit.
It's the credit card of the mortgage world. You know what a home
So he actually said that right. So he said home equity loan, but he's now saying credit card of the mortgage world. So I think he meant to say home equity line of credit.
home equity loan is? It's a good chance for you to lose your home. Let me tell you why. Most of them have an annual or a biannual, every 2-year call in them, meaning the bank can just decide they want all their money.
So that's actually not true. So different banks have, and this is something that I share all the time, is that different banks have different types of home equity line of credit. Home equity line of credit, HELOCs are non-QM notes, non-QM loans, so non-qualifying mortgages. And that means that banks have a little bit more liberty as far as how they can set up the features of the HELOC. And what Dave's talking about, yeah, there are certain banks with the 2-year balloon, 2-year call. Most home equity line of credit have a 10-year draw, a 20-year repayment period. I've seen combinations up to 15-year draw, 15-year repayment. So Dave is making a blanket statement here about home equity line of credit that's not necessarily all true. It's sort of half the truth, because there are home equity line of credit, as Dave talks about, with 2-year call, but there are also home equity line of products that don't have those 2-year calls. So again, that's something that my reaction, my response to Dave about the 2-year call, not necessarily all true.
And you have to go get another loan or have the cash to pay them off right then, or they foreclose. I mean, it looks like something in an old 1930s movie or something. But everybody just bebops along and acts like it's nothing, because usually they don't do that, but they have the right in the paperwork to just decide they don't like you anymore and call the loan. You know, the second thing is, you know what the interest rate on your home equity loans?
So right before that, and I'll give you some context as to why Dave is freaking out and doing this rant. The reason why Dave is doing this rant is, and this is something that I actually agree with him, is that a lot of people are banking on what's called phantom appreciation at this point. So we're shooting this video in 2019. Market's doing really well, unemployment's super low, economy is doing really, really well. And what it tends to happen is people go hog wild crazy with their equity that they built. Now, again, the equity that they built, phantom appreciation, meaning that all the appreciation that they've been gained over the last couple of years can all be gone like that in a case of a recession or a market crash or a correction in the market. Now, the reason why Dave's freaking out, coming back to that question, is that when you go and borrow money, let's say your home value is $200,000, and then since the last recession, you've gained $250,000. Your total value of your home is now $250,000. So you appreciated $50,000 more than what the home value was a couple of years ago. Now, Dave is freaking out because a lot of people are taking that $50,000 of appreciation that they've gotten, and they're borrowing against it to do some stupid things like buying a boat or going to Las Vegas and wasting the money away. Now, what happens is when the market crashes or when the market resets or there's a correction, the appreciation falls back down. The equity, the home value falls back down to say 220 or 210, or worst case scenario, it may fall below $200,000, leaving you anywhere around 180, 170. I'm just throwing numbers out there. But Dave is saying if you borrow that extra home equity line of credit or home equity loan, you're going to essentially be underwater. You're going to owe more to the banks than what your home value is actually worth. In that case, yes, the banks will have the power and the ability, according to your note, to call the note due, and you're going to have to fork over money to make sure that you become solvent with the bank. That's why Dave is freaking out, and that's a little bit of context I'm going to give you guys right now, is we have phantom appreciation that necessarily isn't real and it isn't permanent, but when people borrow against that, when the tidal wave is gone, okay, when the recession happens and all the home value drops, you're pretty much it's kind of like a hot potato. You're holding the potato while it's explodes on you. So that's one of the reasons why Dave is like, don't borrow, don't borrow, don't borrow. But remember, in the context of using our strategy, the HELOC strategy, aka the debt-free acceleration strategy, you're using the home equity line of credit to pay off the mortgage faster, which means that you're lowering the balance of your overall debt. Okay, so it's quite the opposite of what Dave is imagining what people would do.
You know, the second thing is, you know what the interest rate on your home equity loan is based on? Your banker's mood.
So that's actually not true at all. Again, so the interest rate cannot be arbitrary. You know, the bank just can't say, oh, we're going to go and jack it up. Now, there are marginal rates that the banks can change. However, most banks use an index, whether that's the U.S. Federal Reserve index or LIBOR. So again, Dave is making a blanket statement that isn't quite necessarily true with all home equity line of credit. Dave might be pointing at one specific home equity line of credit product that he's dealt with, but again, being that home equity line of credit products are non-QM, different banks have different features and different requirements, and how they get their interest rates, not necessarily by the banker's mood, but again, by a set index that is determined by an external factor.
It's not tied to any index. It's not tied to any national publishing.
Again, not true.
It's somewhat controlled by competition, but you know when they change, they just change it. It's completely variable, and it's variable based on, I think we can get a little more out of it.
So not all home equity line of credit is variable. There are home equity line of credit that can be fixed rate interest rate. Again, blanket statements, not necessarily good.
George this week, let's just raise it. And they just raise them. Or they might lower them, but not very often. And so you are setting yourself up in a piece of crap loan with a call and a variable rate that is based on the banker's whim. That's just dumber than a rock. That's just dumber. You are asking for trouble. And then when things turn down, you're going to go, oh, I didn't think that was stupid. Because, hey, when things are going really good, stupid gets covered up. Stupid can look smart when things are good. But like Warren Buffett says, when the tide goes out, you can tell who was skinny dipping.
So, yeah, again, so we got to remember the context of why Dave is doing this rant. Again, Dave is assuming the worst about people. People are going, borrowing their equity out to go buy some stupid things. Which in that case, yes, don't do that. It's the dumbest thing you'll ever do, and you'll lose your pants, and probably more than your pants. But seriously, like if what Dave is assuming is correct about people, like people are going to go and borrow money to do different things that are not necessarily productive, then yes, I agree with Dave. Do not be borrowing home equity line of credit to finance your trip down to Mexico. Okay, not a good thing. But if you're using the home equity line of credit, in fact, any financial instrument, okay, if you use any of the financial instruments that are available in the market to do good, to help people, to build your business, to create an income-producing asset, to go and build another stream of income, then yes, it could be a very good thing, and it could be a very powerful thing and an effective thing for you to help you advance your financial cause and your goals. So again, Dave is very one-laned here, meaning that he's only thinking in the context of people are going to do some dumb things and stupid things, which again, if put in that context, yes, I agree with him. But when you're using our strategy, the home equity line of credit strategy, it could be a very good thing, and it can help you reduce a lot of debt, it can save you a lot of money, a lot of time without changing your income or your expenses. So if you're wondering what strategy is this guy talking about, I'm going to go and leave the video below this video in the link description box below. Click on that video, watch the strategy. It's going to explain as to why you want to be using a home equity line of credit to pay off your mortgage. And oftentimes when done correctly, you can pay off your mortgage within 5 to 7 years without making more money or cutting back on your expenses. So I don't know if Dave continues to talk about the home equity line of credit. He may change his subject here. Let me just play that here.
When things go down, this home equity loan is going to be, oh, I had no idea. Well, where were you in 2008? I mean, were you not born yet? Seriously, how did you have no idea? You didn't even look at it. All you cared about was, I wanted a new kitchen. Princess, come on.
Yeah, so obviously he's talking about people who spend money on, liabilities. And there could be something to be said about that. Doing a new kitchen maybe can help you appreciate your home value, depending on your situation. Right? But if you have a perfectly fine kitchen, looks beautiful, and you just want to spend more money because you want to spend more money, yeah, probably not the best idea. Probably not the best investment, I would say. So make wise decisions, guys. Make wise investment. But and at the same time, when you're getting an advice or a suggestion from Dave Ramsey, remember the context of what he's talking about. It's really important to not only get the idea of what he's saying, but it's also important as to what context he's using to give you that suggestion. So in a way, I do agree with Dave. In a way, I don't. I agree with him as far as not using your home equity line of credit or home equity loan to go do some stupid things, buying cars and stuff that's not going to make you money. But if you are using it to help to advance your financial cause, help you build more income, build wealth in terms of buying a business or buying a rental property, then yes, go and definitely do it. It's going to help you out. So that's pretty much my commentary here, guys. You can go and watch the rest of the video. I'll go and leave the original clip for Dave Ramsey's video down below in our link description section. And then be sure to check out our home equity line of credit strategy or HELOC strategy, AKA the debt-free acceleration strategy. All right, I'll see you there.